So let's talk about the Alex Murdaugh retrial. Is it going to happen? And how does that prosecutor think he feels? So let's talk about the Alex Murdaugh retrial. Is it going to happen? What's that prosecutor going to feel like? So let's talk about the Alex Murdaugh retrial. Everybody seems to be talking about that. How does that poor prosecutor, that poor judge feel? Let's talk about it. You're watching Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube, sightsoundsflavors.com. If at any point in time you like this video, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. Also press the button down below here somewhere and leave a comment if you want me to know what you think, and I want to know what you think so we can have a conversation. Also, don't forget, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sight Sounds Flavors goes live here on YouTube. I invite you to join. Super chats, regulars, new folks, everyone's welcome. So, imagine what that prosecutor must feel like. The prosecutor in the Murdaugh trial, much like the lead prosecutor in the Waukesha trial, was very invested. Had a very strong dislike for the defendant and went at him hard. But because the clerk just had to tell the jurors what she thought, loose lips sink ships, it may have cost them the whole trial. And the judge, who spoke from the heart, who told Alex Murdaugh, "You've practiced in front of me. You had a brilliant career. And now you have nothing." That judge that presided over the hearings, much like Judge Dorow did in the Waukesha case, now has to recuse himself because it was his clerk that may have cost that first trial to go out the window. And that judge may actually now be a witness if there's a second trial, a new trial. Is the same prosecutor going to prosecute it? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe he can't because of schedule. He may have other trials running. They may want to try with a different prosecutor. And all the mistakes that were made for the first trial, you can bet your bottom dollar, are not going to be repeated for the second trial. I could almost guarantee you the head that's not on my head or on my face that Alex Murdaugh would not testify for a second time because you shouldn't have testified for the first time. I'm saying shouldn't in the sense of him walking. Not that he's innocent. He's not innocent. And who knows, maybe for the next trial, they don't focus on the financial crimes like they did on the first trial, which a lot of people said really honestly cost him the trial, really honestly should not have had the weight focused on it since it was going to be its own trial. But he's been convicted of those now, so maybe they will come in, maybe they won't. But I highly doubt they're going to focus on him like they did on the first trial because they're not going to want another trial. So imagine a second trial, maybe not in the Low Country. Maybe he doesn't testify. There's no longer going to be the shock of the Snapchat evidence that came out of nowhere that made him look horrible because we'll be ready for that now. Who knows if he walks? He may walk and he may be guilty, like OJ. It's pretty crazy if you think about it because that prosecutor probably thought he would never hear of Alex Murdaugh again unless it was a documentary or convictions on other trials. He never probably in a million years thought that all of his work would be basically cast aside. Everything that was done in the first trial, if there's a retrial, will essentially be worthless, useless, a waste of time. The conviction thrown out. Imagine how Sue Opper would feel. Or Lindsay Daisy would feel. Or Zach Witchow would feel. Imagine how Judge Dorow would feel if that entire trial was sullied by an error or a court officer, whatever, and now had to have a new trial, and all of that testimony, the outbursts, the trauma, everything the witnesses went through, they would have to do it again. And this time, Judge Dorow might be a witness. Imagine how she would feel. That's how the judge in the Murdaugh trial probably feels like. Now, he didn't enjoy hearing this case, but he did it, and he did it to the best of his abilities. And he was applauded all over YouTube, all over the social world, social media platform world, for being fair. I thought it was not so fair. I thought it was hard on Alex Murdaugh. I thought it was hard on the defense. But that's just me. I thought that he let the state get away with a lot more than he let the defense get away with. But again, that really is neither here nor there. He did a good job. He was more or less fair. And now, not only is all of his work going to basically mean nothing, he may even be called as a witness. And Alex Murdaugh's lawyers may try to tear him to pieces, and they probably will, in all honesty. He had a fine, fine legal team, and they really went to bat for him. I mean, if you think about it, most of the damage done to his case was done because he testified. Because he thought that he could, convince a jury like he did for all those personal injury cases that he had. Because he thought that he could get some level playing field with the prosecutor. Because he thought maybe he could work the judge. He was trying to work a lot of people, and he failed miserably. Maybe he doesn't make that mistake for the second trial. The reality of the matter, though, is that this could happen to any high-profile trial. Any trial, really, but especially a high-profile one. These highly, highly televised trials also, they're almost a recipe for disaster. So who knows what's going to happen, and who knows if the second trial is going to be this televised. You got Alex Murdaugh posing for online fan-looking pictures. He's bare-chested in his cell. I don't know who wants to see that, and I don't know why we're seeing that. But who knows? I mean, now he's not going to walk because the financial crimes are going to keep him locked up probably for 1,000,000 years. But if he can beat the murder case, then who's to say? I mean, I don't know. It's a very, very frightening situation. Him getting a retrial does not automatically mean he's going to walk, but he's going to learn. He will have learned all of the mistakes from the first trial, and you can bet your bottom dollar he's sure as heck not going to repeat them for the second trial. But it's just interesting to think about how that prosecutor must feel and the judge must feel. And if we, flip the script and make it the Waukesha trial, could you imagine how a prosecution team or Judge Dorow would feel if that entire trial that saw Dorow Brooks Jr. get convicted all of a sudden got a retrial based on some, and this wasn't even based on an appeal. This was based on judicial misconduct. I mean, you had a clerk. I mean, but what I'm saying is, could you imagine what they would be thinking if their whole work was cast aside? I mean, that's almost as bad as this guy getting acquitted, in my opinion. What do you think? What do you think that prosecutor, that judge, what do you think they're thinking right now?